In Pike County, officials and law enforcement officers gathered to raise awareness on an important topic. WYMT's Jordan Mullins has more from the Gatti's Goes Blue event.
Here at Mr. Gatti's Pizza, many Pike County officials gathered not for pizza or arcade games, but to bring awareness to an important topic. April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, and today was Gatti's 6th annual Gatti's Goes Blue event. Law enforcement and child protective services from across the county came to raise awareness by planting blue pinwheels. We asked one Pikeville Police Department officer about what these pinwheels mean to him.
Pinwheels, as you can see, put them up, it represents hope, you know, for betterment, trying to get out here and trying to be better, trying to make sure that the kids are safe.
Officer Tony Kahn says if you are a witness to child abuse or neglect, to call local law enforcement or 1-800-KY-SAFE-1. In Pikeville, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Officer Kahn also says the Pikeville Police Department received 150 calls involving social services in 2021 and added it was nearly one call every 3 days. We'll have more from the Gatti's Goes Blue event coming up tonight at 6 o'clock.
Cloudy skies continuing to work back into the mountains as we go through the remainder of this evening. The good news, we're not going to be dealing with any, we're going to be dealing with some wind. Not as much, though, as last night, but it will still be with us as we head through the evening. And the showers not finished with us yet either. Outside right now, Mountain Parkway at Slade, seeing plenty of cloud cover working through the region at this hour. We're going to continue to see that as we head deeper and deeper into the nighttime hours as we head over to I-75 in London. Again, with the overcast working into the region this afternoon. Temperatures around the region, well, they're kind of all over the place. Out east, we're in the middle and upper 60s, whereas you head out to the west, we're in the mid-40s at this moment. So we're going to continue to see, or mid-40s, I should say. We're going to continue to see the cold air filter in as we continue to see winds gusting between 25 and 30 miles per hour. So not like last night, but still with us. You see pinpoint Doppler is all a clean sweep this afternoon, at least around the mountains. Severe weather is all off to the east. Tornado watches in the Carolinas and the mid-Atlantic. So we'll continue to see the potential for those showers later on tonight. That's why you need to keep that WYMT weather app handy, because we've got the latest in shower activity, on the shower activity, as we head through the night, coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Strong winds knocked down trees and caused damage to at least one house in Lincoln and Boyle counties. A woman in Stanford says she's fortunate she and her children were not home when the high winds hit. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on that and tree damage in Boyle County.
This is what is left of a tree of a yard in Perryville in Boyle County. Strong winds came through and knocked over this tree, actually caused it to split right down the middle and go off in about 2 different directions. And here in Boyle County and also in Lincoln County, some minor reports of damage from those strong winds that blew through here. Melissa Tinnell had just left her Stanford home with her 2 children when high winds took hold of her roof and carried most of it off. Part of it came completely off and some is laying in the side yard. There are trees down throughout Lincoln and Boyle counties, but this is reportedly the only home that had this kind of damage. For someone who has experienced some scares, both medically and for this not to be worse, it all feels like a win.
Just in January, I feel I've won just from coming back from my emergency alone and then being gone from this emergency, but still here. Yes, I've won.
The emergency management director in Lincoln County told me in a text message that they are very fortunate. They feel like they are lucky they dodged a bullet given the storm damage that has happened in other parts of the United States. In Boyle County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
The Lincoln County homeowner says they did have insurance to cover the roof damage to their home. Evacuation orders are still in place for some residents and visitors of East Tennessee's Smoky Mountains. The Hatcher Mountain Indigo Lane fire in Sevier County has burned more than 3,700 acres since it was first reported Wednesday morning. Mayor Larry Waters gave an update on the fire this morning. He said more than 100 structures have been impacted and 5 fire rescue vehicles have been damaged as a result of the blaze. Waters said the wildfire is 5% contained and there are no reports of fatalities or anyone missing. The cause of the fire has not been determined, but the mayor described the weather as the perfect storm for a wildfire.
We've seen what could happen with low humidity, high winds, and no rain. And sure enough, that's what happened to us this time.
Forestry officials were hoping firefighters will be able to better contain the blaze today. The Biden administration is marking a Transgender Day of Visibility with a series of steps asking for a more inclusive government. Amy Schneider's winning streak on Jeopardy recently made her the show's first transgender champion and brought an invitation to the White House. In a show of support, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services said it would be the first agency to fly a trans pride flag. Nationwide, Americans are paying an average of $4.22 for a gallon of gas, according to AAA, a high price for many households. Today, President Biden has ordered the release of 1 million barrels of oil per day from the nation's Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It will be the largest release of oil reserves in history, and the president says it could bring down the price of gas per gallon 10 to 35 cents. CBS's Naomi Ruckham reports.
President Biden says he will put 1 million additional barrels of oil on the market every day for the next 6 months, all of it coming from the nation's Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
This is a wartime bridge to increase oil supply until production ramps up later this year.
The president wants to get U.S. oil and gas companies producing more. And to turn up the pressure, he's also calling on Congress to impose fees on those companies for wells on public lands that aren't getting used.
No American company should take advantage of a pandemic or Vladimir Putin's actions to enrich themselves at the expense of American families.
Drivers have also been paying more for gas, with global supply impacted by steep sanctions on Russia for its war in Ukraine. The pandemic and efforts to move toward greener energy have meant less oil on the market. Kyle Bowles owns an ice cream truck business in Richmond, Virginia, and his trucks run off both unleaded and diesel gas.
In a word, it's brutal, truthfully. You know, a year ago, the prices were $2 less on each one.
This new oil reserve release will begin in May, increasing domestic supply. But experts say it will also bring oil reserve levels to lows not seen in decades. Patrick DeHaan is the chief petroleum analyst for GasBuddy, the app that helps drivers find the cheapest gas.
Are we going to put ourselves more at risk? This could push up prices long term because the nation has no relief valve for if there are future problems.
The Biden administration says it will replenish the Strategic Petroleum Reserve when prices come down, but other recent releases haven't done much to move the needle on prices. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
President Biden also ordered the Department of Defense to secure American production of minerals and materials used for large capacity batteries. It's part of the effort to reduce reliance on China for those materials that can help the country move toward greener energy. The Louisville Zoo is celebrating several hatchings this month. 2 Waldrop ibis were hatched in late February. This species is considered one of the most endangered birds in the world. This is the first time the zoo has celebrated Waldrop ibis hatchings in 4 years. The zoo has been a longtime member of the Waldrop ibis species survival plan, with 18 ibis chicks being hatched since 1993. The Postal Service honored Belfry contract driver Jacqueline Goff as a Postmaster General hero for her actions helping a customer. In January, Goff discovered a customer had been in her home for 4 days without phone service or electricity. With no way to call and not able to drive, the customer was trapped in her home with no heat. Temperatures at the time were well below freezing. Goff checked on the customer and alerted Postmaster Kathy Howard, who reached out to the utility company for assistance. Goff then contacted the customer's family, who live out of town. She checked on the customer until the family arrived. Coming up on First at 4, a new report says changes in seatbelt technology could save 1,500 lives a year. We'll share with you what that new technology is.
And showery weather sticks around for a little while longer. I'll have the details on when those move out and when sunshine moves back in on the way.